Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. Welcome to my Beautiful Nights channel. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make this gorgeous flower bracelet. This is the bracelet that I told you guys about in my last video. I've worked on this for just over a week now. I've had a cold, so I've only been able to work on it here and there because I haven't been feeling too well. But today I feel a lot better and I just cannot wait to show you how to make this. So this bracelet design is very similar to a bracelet that I did in the past. This one was actually inspired from that bracelet. And the bracelet I'm talking about is the mermaid watch bracelet. I will put a picture of that bracelet up now. That bracelet was so darn cool, but I think that I used a $1 bead box subscription to make it, and I tried to stay what was in the box, and I think the only thing I used from my own stash was seed beads, thread, and a clasp. Everything else was from, I think it was a $1 bead box. And you guys liked that design so much that you made a whole bunch of them and you posted pictures all over my Facebook page, and I just thought that was so cool. But anyways, I wanted to do that again, but change it up even more. So just going back to that original bracelet, the sides of that bracelet is actually the Hugs and Kisses design that I did way back in my beginning of YouTube years. And I've told you before, I've been on YouTube for almost 10 years now. This October will be 10 years that I've been on YouTube. So I did the Hugs and Kisses design again here, but you know, normally that just has, you know, like this. It looks like this. There's no teardrops on the sides or leaves, and so I put teardrops and leaves in the sides, and I got this look here. And this part here is different. I don't normally do that in the Hugs and Kisses pattern, that little pattern there. And this here, looking back at the mermaid watch, I did not have any teardrops or fringe here on the side. I just started the band for the bracelet right here onto the 4mm, but this one I've extended the outside of it to make it look like a flower. So this one, this bracelet, the materials I use for this one are from Czech Beads exclusive, and I'm going to try and find all the beads that I used to make this bracelet and put it down there in the description bar. So the one we're doing in the video, all of these beads are from Potomac Beads Best Bead Box XL. This is January subscription. I got all of these beads except for these. Those are mine. But everything else, oh, and this cut button. Now, cut button did come in the box, but I had this purple teardrop that I was using in the box, and I had the same color button in my stash, so I just went and got this in my stash because it matches perfectly. So, that's pretty much it. Oh, the teardrops. I had to use more teardrops, and we'll go over all that. But see, what I like to do, instead of telling you guys to go buy a box, January's box is no longer available, I like to give you the list of materials down there in the description bar, so you can go directly to the site and buy the beads. Because sometimes when I do these boxes, I will find that I don't have enough beads, or I have either a defective or a broken bead. This one here, I had a defective leaf, but that was okay because I didn't need 9. I only need 8. But the seed beads, I barely have enough of the 11 seed beads from this subscription. I think I have like maybe 9 seed beads left over. It's ridiculous. It barely worked out. So let's go over the materials. And again, if you're wanting to make this Picasso bracelet here, I will have the links for this one down there in the description bar. They're all from Czech Beads exclusive, so you'll see a Czech Beads exclusive flower bracelet list for the materials in this. And I did get some of the things in here from Potomac. This is a Potomac cut button, and these yellow 15 seed beads, those are from Potomac. And the bronze miyuki seed beads, you can also find those at Potomac, but I get those from Aurora Crystals. Here's the list of materials you will need to make this bracelet. This bracelet is made in 3 sections. We'll first make the flower, and then we'll make this side with the button, and then I'll do this side here with the loop. So you will need to cut, for the flower part, 7 feet of 8-pound fireline. And this is the fireline here that I'm using. Now this flower here, I did not embellish the top here because I like how this looked. I thought this was pretty. But this one here, where these 4mm are at, around this edge, it looks very plain to me. It's very muted, I guess I would say. So what I do is I embellish it with 15 seed beads and these little rondelles, and I make what looks like a twisted rope going around the top, which is great because the teardrops in this one are bigger than these, and I feel like it really needed it. So you'll see what I'm talking about when I get to that point. So 7 feet for the flower, and then to do the sides of the bracelet here, you will need to cut 2 4.5-foot lengths of 8-pound fireline. So 2 4.5-foot lengths of 8-pound fireline. You will also need 2 size 10 beading needles. Now the center is only made with 1 needle, but the sides you will have to do 2 needles. You will also need 1 18mm cabochon. Here's the cab I'm using. It came in the box. This is a resin cab, and I didn't realize how thin it is, but it's like very low. This one here, the Czech cab that it had in my stash, is taller. So after I made that bracelet, the purple one, it went great. I had no problems. But when I went to go do this one, I had a lot of issues trying to get it to work here. And I've made jewelry for 20 years, and I have found over the years that a lot of things can be made multiple ways. I could take one design and make it multiple ways, but sometimes, not all the time, sometimes I will come across a design that you can only make one way. There's only one way you can make that design. You have to follow every step to the T in order for it to work. So that is what I found with bezeling the cab here. And so when I get to that part, I will tell you the problems I had and how to fix it and how to make it work. Okay, so an 18mm cabochon. Going back to my mermaid bracelet though, I actually did a shell bead. I think it was an 18mm Nautilus shell bead instead of a cab. And you could do that too if you have one in your stash that will work. You also need 6 8mm Czech druks, or you can use pearls. They don't have to be trucks. They can also be gemstones. Just make sure that they are exactly 8mm so they work, because sometimes gemstones are not exact measurements. You will also need 26 9x6mm Czech teardrop beads. So the purple one came in the box. It is so pretty, but I did not have enough of them. I had to go in my stash, but luckily I found these here, which also came from Potomac, a previous subscription, and they matched, so I ended up using those. But if you're going online, you're probably going to get more than I got in my box, so you might not have any problems with that. And this bracelet here, when I went to design this one, I did not have this big size color to match the beads that I had. I only had these smaller teardrops. So if you're looking at the size here, see how much smaller these are? So if you want, you can downsize the teardrops and they will still work. Okay, that's another alternative right there for you. And then you will need 8 7x12mm Czech leaf beads. These here, I have a whole bunch of these in my stash. I love those. They're so cool. And you will also need 18 4x7mm Czech rondelle beads. These here, these are like jewel tone colors. Those are gorgeous. I want more of those in my stash. Gotta have more of those. Beautiful. And you will need 44mm Czech fire polish beads. 44mm right here. This one I use druks though, so you could do either or, druks or Czech fire polish. You will also need 48 up to 64 1.5 by 3mm PC rondelle beads. Now I didn't have these for this bracelet here, so I just did 3mm druks, but if you don't want to do the roping around the top here, you will only need 48 of these, and if you do decide to do the roping up here, you will need 64. So that's why I have the numbers like that. You will also need 32 3mm Czech druks. This is for bezeling the flower, but in this piece I didn't have this in my stash, so I ended up using the 3mm Czech druks throughout the rest instead of the rondelles. Okay, that's an alternative there. And then you will need 80 seed beads. I'm using Miyuki. You're going to want to stay with this brand so that the project works for you. And you also need 11 Miyuki seed beads. And I had to do 2 different colors because I didn't have enough of these in my stash, but you could do one. And you will need 15-0 miyuki seed beads and a cup button or a clasp of your choice, a toggle. That would be really cool for this bracelet, but I went with a cup button. Good grief, I can't talk. Anyways, there is a cup button that came with this bracelet. It does match it. It looks pretty, but because I have this purple here and a cup button in my stash, I went and got this out of my stash, used that so it matches perfectly. And here is everything you will need to make this bracelet. I'm going to list all the materials down there below. So the first thing we're going to do is bezel the outside of the cabochon, and I'm going to start by picking up 16 4mm beads. These are the Czech fire polish. And like I said, in my other bracelet, I did Czech druk. So you will want to do like Czech beads for this, because they are usually precise on their size. I wouldn't do gemstones for this area because they are going to be irregular. Okay, so there is 16 4mm Czech fire polish beads. Now slide all of these down. Okay, and go back through the first bead, just this one. This is very important. Normally I go back through all of the beads a second time, okay? But what that did when I made this design is it made it way too tight. There was no breathing room because I had to go through these beads here over and over and over and over, and it was just crazy. It was not working. So I found in order to get this bezel to work, I have to go through just the one bead. So I'm going to slide this down so that I have a 6-inch tail, okay, just like that, and then hold this in place, stick my finger in there like it's a ring, hold this in place. I'm done with that. I'm going to pick up a 3mm, 1/11-0 seed bead, and a 3mm, just like this. I'm going to go back through this bead that I'm coming out of, okay, and then I'm going to go through the next one. And this may seem annoying at first, but because it's loose, but what I do is I wrap my tail, as you can see, around my fingers here, and I just hold all my beads in place. Okay, just like that. And I did have some movement, so I'm just going to check because I don't want a ridiculously short tail. It's going to be hard to tie dots with. And it's good, 6 inches. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Okay, so wrap this around your other fingers there and put this on your index finger. Okay, I'm going to pick up 2 beads this time. I'm going to do a 3mm and 1/11-0. Okay, like this. I'm going to sew through this one, okay, and then up through this 4, and then through the next 4 to position ourselves for the next stitch. Then put this between your fingers and pull all your tail through. Okay, and this is what you should have. Pull this tight. These are going to be flipping inward like that. Eventually they'll do that. And then again, pick up 2 beads. A 3mm and an 11-0 through this 3 here, through this 4, and up through the next 4. Like that. Pull the needle through. Okay. Pull that tight. By the way, the loosening up is only happening with this thread. It's going to stop happening once we go all the way around, full circle, and meet this bead again. Then it won't happen anymore, okay? Well, at least I don't think it will happen anymore. I don't remember it happening after that point. So pick up a 3, an 11, go through this 3, and through the same 4 we're coming out of, and through the next 4. Repositioning our needle. Hold it between your fingers and pull this down. Pull it tight. You will want to start pushing this inward because we only have 1 seed bead in here. It's going to naturally want to fold inward because it's going to be tight. And then pick up a 3, and an 11/0, go through this 3, through this 4, and through the next. So this is pretty simple, as you can see. We're going to do this all the way around on this side. And I have to tell you that I really love doing this stitch. For some reason it's really satisfying to me. Okay, just like that. It's repetitive. Maybe that's why. I can think I like doing like repetitive things. But it just depends on how easy that repetitive thing is to do. Pick up a 3mm, and these here, they're antiqued metallic, right? So see how they're kind of different? So I kind of pick up a different color every time if I can, so it looks random. And then an 11, but you may be using a different color. But that's just something I like to do when I'm using a mix like this. Okay, going through those beads again. And I might fast forward this because I am doing the same thing over and over. And okay, we're arriving at the close here. So I pull that tight. I'm going to pick up a 3, an 11, through my 3 here, through these 2. Okay. Then I'm going to go up through this 3 because we're at the close. Pick up 1 11, go down through this 3. Now I do need to stop because I see that loop is loose, so I'm going to pull that tail, and then I'm going to pull all of this thread through. Okay, like that. Now I have to go back around to make sure it's strong, so I'm going to go through this 4, and I'm also going to go through this 4. Okay, so then when I pull my threads, see how they're coming out of the same bead just across from each other? So pull like that, make it tight. Okay, and then I'm going to pass through a 3mm like this. Okay, and then I'm going to go through 1 11, hopefully you can see that, and then I'm going to get some 15 OC beads, and I'm going to pick one up at a time, and I'm going to pass through an 11 OC bead. Okay, pick up another. That one looks a little screwy. Okay. It's very small. I'm going to go through this next 11/0. So it just sits in between there. It's going to be pulling this circle together for us. Pick up another 11. And coming out here, I'm going to go through this one. Okay, you don't have to pull this tight yet because we will be going around a second time. So go through that one right there. Okay, so you can see my little gaps there filling in. So I'm going to go all the way around, filling these gaps in 1/15 at a time, in between the 11/0s. One seed bead left right here. See this little gap? So I'm going to go through here. Okay. Pull it tight. The piece turns flat. Do you see that? It actually looks pretty just like that. There's probably other things that we could do with this. Now I'm going to go back through all of this a second time because doing once is not good enough. And what I like to do, so I know where I started at, what you can do, I've done this before, you could take a little safety pin and just hook it right here at your start point, okay, close it, and then pull it tight as you go around, or you could do what I do and leave a little loop of thread just like that. See that little loop there? You just don't pull it through all the way. Okay, so I'm going to keep going all the way around. I'm just going through all the 11s and the 15s again. Looks like I'm coming at that 11, but I'm going to go ahead and go through this 15 right here and come out this 11. So I'm going past the loop just by 2 beads, okay? So pull this through, okay? Pull all the tail through, and then pull the entire thing so that loop disappears, and you're going to want to pull this very tight and make sure that this flattens, and that's great. Now if I didn't start this, the outer edge with the 16 4mm, if I went through them twice and came out the same bead and then started doing this, this would not be flat. It would be cupped, and that causes problems for us. So now when we put our cabochon on, this here is going to lay on top of the flat beads, and we shouldn't have issues with it fussing with us. Okay? So I'm pulling this way. Yeah, I'm pulling my threads tight, and I'm coming out of this 11, that one. I'm going to go up through this 3mm, and I'm going to go in this direction through this 4. Yeah, I'm going this way. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We're going to do this, but on this side now, to bezel our cab, and we're going to fill these holes in even more with thread now. Okay, so now I'm going to do a druk and 2 11s and 1 druk. Just like that. I'm going to go through this 4 that I'm coming out of. Okay, and then I'm going to go through the next 4. Like that. Do it again. Pick up a druk. That druk looks screwy. I wonder if I have any extra ones. And 2 seed beads. Doesn't look very round. It's lumpy looking. Okay. And then go through this 3, through this 4, and through the next 4. And then I'm going to stop. I'm going to fold this up. See how the seed beads are not straight? Fold it up like that. And I do like to pop these out because when they're down like that, it actually makes it loose on the top. So see how now they're side by side? That's what we want. So pulling that tight. I'm now going to get another 3mm and 2 11s. I'm going to turn this and go through this 3 and through these 4, and you can bend this piece here to your liking. I always do, so you could pass through. because sometimes when it's all stiff, you can't get through unless you bend it. Okay, pull this tight again. Just want to fix those beads there. Okay, and keep going. We're going to do this all the way around now. Pick up a 3 and 2 11s. We just changed our seed bead count. Instead of doing 1, we're doing 2. Because now we're going to be puffing this side up so our cab sits in here, okay? And then I'm going to go through these 2. Stand this up. It's going to be a little wall over here. See this? It's a little wall. It kind of looks like a swimming pool, but made out of beads. And then another druk and 2 seed beads through this druk, through these 2 4s. Pull it tight. Stand up, beads, stand up. Okay, and then another 3 and 2 11s, like this. Go through this bead and through these 2. If it does look like you have loose spots, like back here, take your fingernails. These are great tools, by the way, fingernails. That's why I love mine so much. And go like this and pull this. See that? There's a little loose spot there. You're tightening it up from the back and you're working it all the way up to the working tail. So that's what I usually do if I see any looseness. Sometimes it doesn't even look loose, and if I do that, I still get it tighter somehow. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, one more left. Go through this 3, through this 4, through the next 4, so it always gets twisted on that left side there. Go up through this 3 here. Pick up 2 11s, go down through this 3, okay, go through this 4, we're going to come back up through the 3 on the right there. Pull it tight. Pull it tight as much as you can as you do this. Up through here. Okay, and then I'll stop here and make sure this is looking good. Yes, it is looking good. Pretty. Okay, let's put our cab in. And with this one, I think I'm just going to go through all of the 11 seed beads, go in a circle, do it twice, stitch it up. But this one, because this cab is bigger, what I had to do is I sewed through 4 11s, okay, so through those two. I picked up 1 15, then I sewed through 4 11s, picked up a 15, sewed through 4, picked up 1, sewed through 4. I did that all the way around. I had one little 15 in these little gaps here, as you could see, because if I did just 15s, you could see my thread. It was too tight. And if I did 11s, this would have a gap. I could put my fingernail under it. So I had to do 15s, and I had to do it just like that. Every other 4 11-0s. So this was shorter. And when I made this one the first time, I didn't have to do that. So let's see. I'm going to go through all of them and not add the 15s. Okay, and this way, since you're not adding beads, you could do as many as you can in one shot. So I went through 6 there. Just be careful you don't skip any seed beads. Okay, I'm going to go all the way around. Here's where I started, and I'm going to go back through these 2. Okay, hold this together. Pull the tail through. Don't get caught. Tail. Don't. Oh, look at that. Try to tie a slip knot. I have that happen a lot, actually. Alright, there we go. That is perfect. So I didn't have to add any 15s. But you might, if you're not using this low cab, you might have to add some 15s. So I'm going to reinforce this, because no way one thread's going to work. And like I said earlier, I like to make a little loop so I know where I started. I'm going to go all the way around. Back to right here, 2 more. Okay, that's where I started. Pull that through. And with this one, since it loosened up so much right there, I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to pull it so it tightens up. And then I'm going to take this tail and pull all that through there. Alright, pull that as tight as you could get it. There we go. It is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Thank God I didn't retry this one here. After I made this and I did that, I wasn't feeling good. Or this one, I didn't feel like retesting it again. So I was just gonna I'll just do it in the video. Hopefully it'll work out. And it did. Thank you, Jesus. We always have to thank the Lord when something goes right for us. Okay, so I just sewed down through a 3mm, and then I am going through a 4, and then we are going to do our teardrops. Alright, don't catch the tail. Tails like to get caught in things, especially doors. Okay, now we're going to be working with 11-0 seed beads and 4x7mm Czech rondelles and our teardrops. I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, rondelle, and 3 11-0s. Like that. Slide these down. I'm going to go through this bead that I'm Xing out of, this one, okay, through this one, and then through the next bead, repositioning our needle. Like that. And then I'm going to pick up 2 11s and a teardrop. Okay? And some of these teardrops are defective, so you might want to check them and make sure that the side that's pretty is facing up. You know what I mean? So like it's going to be like that, so I went through that direction. Hope that makes sense. And then I'm going to pick up 1 11. So 2 11s, a teardrop, and 1 11. I'm going to go through this seed bead right here. Okay, through that one seed bead. And then I turn around and I go through this 4 that I'm coming out of and through the next 4. Pull this tail through, and that rondelle got loose, so I'm going to pull that thread, tighten it up, and go just like this. Okay? and then pick up 2 seed beads, and then a teardrop, and I have to go to a different color. I really did not want to use 2 colors for this one. It still looks beautiful, but I would have preferred having all the same color teardrops. So just like this, go through this 1 seed bead right here. Okay, pull the needle through, and then turn, go through the bead like this, and then go through the next one. Now if you have a hard time getting through, put your fingernail like this and pry them apart, and you can get past. Okay, and if you don't have a fingernail, you could probably try a bead awl. I use those all the time. Or maybe even open up your pliers and push them apart. So that's what I have now. I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads again and a teardrop. I'm doing this one. And then a seed bead. Slide these down. Make sure you pull it tight because it likes to loosen up. Go through this 1 seed bead right here. Okay. Just that one. Get through a few inches, and this tail's in my way. Where is that tail? There it is. And then go through these 2. The one we're coming out of to begin with, and the next one. Okay. Don't get stuck. Just like this. I do like the smaller teardrops, by the way. I don't know what size those ones are that I use that are smaller. My caliper's broken right now. They weren't labeled. But I like the smaller ones because they're lighter. And they just seem to sit nice. Okay? Picking up my next teardrop and a seed bead. So there's my pattern that I pick up. I'm just switching back and forth between these 2 colors. I'm going to go through this 11, like that, just that 1 11, closest to the 4s, and then go through these 2 4s. Pull this through. You can go like this and pull your tail tight there if you want before you bring this bead up. That's what I have so far. 2 11s, a purple, an 11 through this 1 seed bead, turn, and then through these 2. Like that. 2 11s again, teardrop, 2 11 or 1 11, not 2. Okay. Go through this seed bead, turn, and go through these 2. That kind of felt like a pierced thread. Okay, that's better. Made a popping sound. Pull this, and then go like that. Okay, I have 1 more teardrop. I like to have 7 on this side and 7 on that side. 2 seed beads, purple. Some of these teardrops, the blue ones, have like little holes in them, and then these purple ones have weird white specks. Maybe I'm just being picky. Or maybe I am just ridiculous. Do that 1 seed bead there. And then turn. And go through these 2. You pull this thread tight. It seems like this area where we put these teardrops on is the area that I always get caught because they want to twist. Okay, there we go. We have half of it done, and now we're back at where we were over there with the, what is this called? It's a rondelle. I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads, a rondelle, and then 2 seed beads. So we do have different number of beads here, and the reason why is because this bead, once it bumps up against this, see this? It extends it. So the thread was exposed if I just did 2. So that's why I do 3 here. Okay, and then through this seed bead, like that, and then turn and go through, did I? Yeah, okay. That was weird for a second there. And then through these 2. And pry them apart. There we go. Halfway around. Now I have to do this side, and I might fast forward because I know this is going to be a Beautiful Nights movie video. But it's a pretty big piece, so it's to be expected. So 2 11s again. Teardrop is going to be purple one. 1 11. Slide those down. Go through 1 seed bead right here. Turn and go through these 2 4s. Is my needle trying to pierce that thread? Looks like it's trying to go through the tail. Where's my tail? I'm gonna pull this down. There we go. Now it's not doing it. Okay. Through here. See how it's getting caught right there? We're just going to pull that over to the side so it does not get caught on those beads. These will be getting pulled on like that. So if you want, you can stop and pull those out so that it lays flat, because it was laid funny because those were all bunched. So here I am. I just added that one there, right there. Okay, I'm turning and I have to go through these 2, and I may have to come out the back side. Okay, so see that? I'm just on the back side there. Pull this through, pull it tight. Now since I'm at the close, I have to go through the first seed bead right here that's by my rondelle. Just that 1 seed bead. There's 3 there, but you only want to go through 1. Okay, and then pick up 1 seed bead this time, not 2. And then your teardrop. Okay, this side looks better. Yeah, and then 1 seed bead. Okay, because we already have seed beads here we're working with, so we're not picking up the same amount, we're picking up less. And then go through this seed bead here, turn, go through this seed bead, or not seed bead, it's a Czech fire polish bead. Okay, now you may have to go through it at an angle on the back side there because it's tight, and we just went around this thing several times already, and my thread got caught there, so let's see. Okay, and there we go, finished, full circle. I am, where am I at? I'm back here. I have to go up to the top. So there's a little triangle of thread. I'm just going to pass my needle through that triangle right there. See that? To get up here. Don't get caught on anything. And I'm going to cut out this seed bead. Okay, and this is what we have. We have gone all the way around. Now this is really floppy in this state. See how it's super floppy? And this one wasn't that bad. I think it's because the drops were smaller, but this one has very large drops. So to stop this from being so floppy, I'm going to reinforce it. And to do that, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through these two seed beads right here. Okay, for those two. And then through this rondelle. And we're just going to sew around the outer edge to strengthen this. I'm going to go through these two. Just the two, not the three. There we go. Okay, turning. Gonna go through this seed bead, through the teardrop, and we're just gonna sew all the way around this. And you have to be careful because this part right here, I don't know why I kept screwing this up, but I kept skipping a seed bead, or I would get caught on the teardrops. So see that? I'm just going around these beads right here through these these two seed beads in between the teardrops, going like this all the way around the outside. Okay, all the way to where we started, full circle, coming up that teardrop. Make sure I get through that seed bead right there. This does not appear hard, okay? This is very simple, but for some reason, I just kept skipping seed beads. Through those there. You know what I blame it on? I blame it on watching TV while doing this. That's what I'll blame it on. Okay, so I'm just gonna, you can already see, look at that, it's stiffening that up. See that? Look how stiff that is. Right here, that's what I did. Look at everything else, it's so floppy. Okay, so I'm just gonna go all the way around. I'll fast forward this because it's pretty simple. Okay, I'm back here at the beginning. I have to go through these two. So you can see how this is extended more right there for the sides of the bracelet. And the rondelle is long, so we had to accommodate that, or wide. Through there. Through these two. I think this is where I started. Yeah. I'll go through this one also. I guess I can't get through there. Okay. Made it all the way around. Now I'm going to stop, check my work, make sure I didn't skip any beads. You could tell if you skipped one because it will be pushed down instead of going in the circle. Look at how stiff this is. Like, I'm just going to hold it from the bottom there. Do you see that? Doing that little thread reinforcement helped so much. Alright, so I'm currently coming out of this seed boat going in this direction, and to do my rope embellishment, if I stay coming out this direction, every time I add a new loop, I have to go in that direction, and I don't like going that way. I'd rather go this way. So I'm going to go through this 4, I'll come out the back side. Okay, and I'm gonna go through this little hole right there because I want to be working in a direction that's much easier for me. So I'm just moving my thread to the top, and then I'm gonna go out of this seed bead, just the one. Okay, like that. I'm just exiting out of this seed bead. So we're going to be working on this one seed bead, this one right here, these little spokes like on a bicycle. We're going to be working out of these all the way around, adding our loops, which is going to end up looking like a rope. So to do that, I pick up 2 15s, my little rondelle, was it 1.5 by 3 millimeter? It's so tiny. I would say that this rondelle is the size of a 10-0 seed bead. So if you cannot get your hands on that rondelle, try doing 10-0 Czech seed beads. Okay, so there's my beads. Coming out the top of this bead, I'm going to come right over here and go underneath, lift it up like that, and go through there. So now you see why I repositioned my thread earlier. Okay, so now we have this little loop. And when you make a whole bunch of these going all the way around, it's going to start looking like a twisted rope. So do 2 again, rondelle, 2, okay, coming out of this one, go to the next one. Like that. 2 again. Pick up a rondelle. Oops, I got 3. Just like that. Go through this seed bead here. Okay, now this here is a little thin. It could be thicker. Does it really look rope-like right now? So what I do is after I complete this circle going all the way around, I go all the way around again. But I do just seed beads on the second lap. Okay, pick up 2 11s. Not 11s, 15s. I'm so used to using 11s. They're like my #1 small seed bead size to go through. And through that bead there. It's pretty simple. It works up quickly too. Okay, and a little rondelle. Like that. Through this bead. Fold your teardrops down to pass through that seed bead. Makes it easier. Pick up 2 11s. And then a little rondelle. 2 15s, not 11s. They're not 11s, Alicia. Sometimes you're so bad off, I swear. Okay, through the next seed bead right here, this one. Look at that. I love that. That color, that blue, it pops. So pretty. See, I thought it looked really plain like that. Like this one looks great like that. But this one, I think because that purple's so dark and then the bronze is dark, you can't really see the beads there. They just don't stand out to me. Okay, like this. And then through this seed bead, the next one. Something I realized I should mention. When you go through the seed bead, there is that thread there that we added to go all the way around. So you might get caught underneath that. You might go underneath, over, and around that thread. And then it might pull funny. It might go like that. Okay, so if you're having that problem, that's why. So again, pick up 2 15s, rondelle 2 15s, bend this down like that with your finger, go through this 11, and you want to lift it up. You want to pull it up. Okay, and I can see there is no thread laying on top of that needle. Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to go down to show you what it looks like. See that? I just got caught in that thread, so that's going to make it turn up on me. I don't want it to turn up. I just want to go through that seed bead. Sometimes the littlest details, something like that, could really warp your piece. It's weird, but I always catch on to those details when I'm designing things, that something like that could happen and change the look of your piece. Okay, 2 15s, my rondelle and 2 15s, and then right here, fold this down, pick up this 11, lift it up so you don't catch that thread under there. See the angle that I'm at? And pull this through. And I'm going to go all the way around. I'll fast forward and I will come back and show you what to do. Okay, we have made it all the way around. We're back at the beginning. And I'm just going to do the same thing. To close this first round, I'm going to take the needle, bend the teardrops down, and pass through the 11-0. Now I guess you could stop right here if you wanted to, if you're satisfied with how this looks. It is pretty right now. But I tried it a second time and I thought it looked even better. It looks more rope-like the second time. So I'm going to do it again, and this time we are just going to do 15s. And because I like to make mistakes, well, not really, well, good things do happen from mistakes, I'd say, I'm going to put these away so I only pick up 15s. Okay, now it's going to be 5 15s. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes. Okay, so coming out of that bead, it's going to be a little bit harder to see, but if you bend this down and you look right here, you can see that seed bead. Okay, go through. Now you have to choose which side you want your new row to go on. I think I want my new row to go, let's see, what does it look like on the top? On the top it pushes that down. I think I want my new row to go on this side. Yeah, does that make a difference? I only did this one time, by the way, when I first designed this one. Okay. So putting it on this side, I'm seeing is making the blue bead come inward. So if I put the purple on this side, it's going to push the blue bead outward. So I'm going to put it on the teardrop side. Pick up 5 again. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Bend this down. Okay, and make the seed beads go to that side right there. See how that looks? It's pretty. I think this is how I did do it the first time. There's so many little details to this piece though. So many to remember. And I made this, I finished this bracelet maybe 5 days ago, and I didn't feel good enough to film it, so it's been a while since I've worked on it. Okay, I'm going up through that 11-0 there again, the same one that we did before. It's just now it's covered by their beads, and I want these to go on this side. just like that. Pull it tight. That's pretty. Okay, 5 again. And again, I will fast forward this to save time. I apologize for a long video, but jewelry classes take time. Going through this seed bead here. I could see the top there, by the way, right there, and I don't see me catching on to that thread I was talking about earlier, so I know that I'm getting through the spot I have to get through, and fingernail helps to slide those beads on that side there. This also seems, by the way, because these teardrops are so big on this one, doing this rope embellishment seems to keep the teardrops more stable. So coming up there, careful you don't go through a 15 and an 11. Make sure you're just going through that 11. That's what I have so far. Okay, so I'm putting in my last loop of 15s right here. It's kind of hard to see that 11-0 from this side, but I could see from here, right there it is, that I'm going through that bead. Okay, and again, I want it to be on this side. There we go. Hold tight, and to finish this off, we'll have to work on the back side. Right now I'm coming out of a seed bead, an 11-0 seed bead right there. So I'm just going to pass through this seed bead and through a teardrop, like that. Pull this tail through, pull it tight there on the top. Flip this over. And what we're going to do is tie knots on this side. So I'm going to take my needle, go through this loop right here, come out, pass through this loop twice. Okay, I gotta see. I'm coming out of the teardrop, so I want my knot to fall right beside the teardrop. Okay, so I go like this. Pull it tight, pass through a couple beads, and tie another knot. I just went through 2 seed beads. Well, I'm trying to go through 2 seed beads. There we go. Okay, just like that. Carefully don't get caught. Pull that knot through. Pass the needle under right here, make a loop, go through it twice. Pass through this teardrop and through a seed bead. Okay, so just remember that we're like over here by this rondelle, so you know how far you go. So I will be going all the way around, reinforcing this if I can. Because I have extra thread, I would like to reinforce this, loop around here one more time, and around here one more time. It makes it stronger. If I can't go through, then I won't worry about it, and I'll just keep going around this outside edge, reinforcing. And I may even weave up through here, do the bottom if I have enough tail. I just like to, you know, follow old thread path. That is the main thing. You have to stay with your old thread path. Don't make new thread paths where there aren't any, because then your piece will warp. That's the rule. And then take my needle off of this thread, put it onto this one. I'm in the 4mm beads right here. I can either put my needle on, come up through the tiny little triangle of thread, then I'll be up through here, okay? Go through a 3mm, and then I could go around here tying knots in circles. I could tie knots in this in circles. So I have 3 options. I can either go around here in a circle, around the entire outer edge, or around this, reinforcing the piece. So I don't know if I'm going to do that because it's late in the day and it will take time for me to do that. So I think I might connect my bracelet on and continue working on this and then tie this all off at the very end. Alright, I have the beads laid out here. We're going to be connecting the thread to this. We're going to go this way, put the button on, go back, fill it in, and come back, fill it in again, and then tie it off. So I didn't tie this off yet because I don't have a lot of time. It's getting late in the day. I will just tie it all off at once, but if you want, you can tie yours off now if you find the threads annoying. I don't mind it. I'm used to the threads. So I'm just going to pop this bead out here. Take and pass a needle through it. Doesn't matter which. I try to lift it up and then go through it like this so I'm not wrapped around those threads. Okay. Like that. And I'm working with 4.5 feet of 8-pound fireline. So passing that through, putting my needles together, making sure they are even. See this? My tails are even. Right there are my tails. Okay. And then I just go like this, making sure that I have an even amount of thread on each side. I tried this, believe it or not, with monofilament. This part here, the sides of the bracelet, and it worked. This part though, you definitely have to do that with thread. So if you want, you could do this with monofilament. But because we did go through it, or will be going through the bracelet part 3 times, it does make it very stiff. And so I do prefer the thread for this project compared to the monofilament. Okay, so we got that. Now separate the threads, and on each needle pick up one 11/0 seed bead, okay, and then a rondelle on each side. Slide those down. Pick up an 11 on each side, and a rondelle, and crisscross through this bead. Both of your needles, like that. Bring it down. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that my threads are still even, because you do not want to run short on one side. That could run into problems in the future. So that's good so far. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and pick up 1/8 seed bead on each needle. Let me get this thread up there out of my way. I'm going to try not to yank my bracelet because I don't want it to fly off my desk. Okay, so I have 1/8 on each needle, and then I have to do 1 4mm on each needle. Slide those down. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up an 8mm round bead. I'm using the druks. Crisscross through this bead. Okay, like that. Pull that tight, and then on each needle pick up 1 4mm, one 8. Oops. Let those fall down. And then a rondelle. I'm going to crisscross through this rondelle. Slide it down. I like to stick the needles in the mat as much as I can so I don't lose place of the needles. I hate when that happens. Pull that down, pull it tight, okay. And then 1/8 on each side. Slide that bead down. Sorry. Keep up in the tripod. And then a petal. So these petals, I've talked about this in a video I recently did with these. See how they curve? Like this one's going to the left, but if you flip it over, it's then going through the right. And one side, I swear, is flatter than the other, but maybe I'm crazy. This side seems like it has more curveness to it on the top, and this side seems a little flatter. So I'm going to go through the bead in this direction. Okay, so my curve's going that way. And then pick up another 8. Slide this down. Okay. And then this one here, because this is opposite, the curve will be going that way. So I'm going to pass through this bead. So the curve's going this way. And then on this side, the curve is going the opposite way. Okay, and then I need an 8/0. So slide that down. So see, that's what we have. 8, a leaf, and an 8 on each side. And then we have to pick up the bead that we crossed through, the rondelle. Bring this down. Pull it tight. Now we are ready to do our button, and it is supposed to be 8 11/0 seed beads on each side. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Double check. 4 and 4. There's 8. Okay, slide that down. Go to this side. I must have miscounted those. And then 8 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Slide these down. And one last time, I'm going to pull this tight. Okay. And then take the cut button, pass your needles through it, like that. Slide it down. Okay. I'll go like this. I'm having deja vu right now. I swear I've filmed this video before. I know I haven't. But I'm having deja vu about it. Okay, just like that. And then pick up an 11, 1/8 seed bead, and an 11. Slide these down. Crisscross through these beads. Okay, pull this tight. This here drives me nuts how loose it can get. So see how I wrapped my tail over here around my fingers? Now I'm going to take this needle on this side, go through the button, because I'm already coming through an 11-0, and then pass through all of these 11-0 seed beads here. Okay, I'm not going straight down, just like that. Well, I'm going straight down through these 11s, I'll zoom in. But I'm not going into the rest of the bracelet like that. So pull this through, and then pass the needle through this rondelle. Okay, so this is now in position. I'm going to sit this needle over here on this side. And then I'm going to take this needle and do the same thing that I just did, but on this side. So straight through the button, through all 8 of these 11-0 seed beads, like that. Okay, it got loose, so I'm going to pull this thread tight. And see how it's loose there? That's okay, we will fix it. I'll show you how. So I'm just going to continue on by passing through this rondelle like nothing's wrong, even though something is wrong. Okay, and then we have all of this looseness. So both of my threads are crisscrossing through the rondelle. What I'm going to do is take and grab the rondelle and the seed beads in my button and go like that. Okay, and then I'm going to put my fingernails in these loops right here, pull these threads tight, and then let my fingers out. I could also go, I got it, but I could also go like this, pulling this. See how I wrapped the thread around my fingers? Go like this, make this loose by pinching like that. Okay, pulling it apart and then pulling it tight, and now everything is tightened up. Okay, let's decorate the top. Okay, exiting out of this rondelle, I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s on each needle with my bad left hand. Oh, I'm not left-handed at all. Okay, 2 on each side, and then 1 15 on each side. Right? Like this. And then I pick up the tiny little rondelle and I crisscross through this bead. Now on my other bracelet I didn't have these rondelles, remember? So in place of them I just did 8-0 seed beads. See that right there? 8-0s. Having a larger bead here, I think in the past I didn't do this, but having a larger bead here, I don't see my thread this way. And also putting the 15s on the sides, right there, see my thread is not exposed. In the past when I've done it, you can see my thread just a little bit on each side. But doing a larger bead with 15-0s on the sides stops that from happening. So, new and improved design. So a 15, and this time we're doing 3 11s on each side. Just like that. Okay. Take the needle, I do one at a time, pass through this 8mm round, like that. Hold the piece down, pull it through, swapping sides. I then take this side and go through. Careful you don't pass through the 11-0 seed beads that you just added, because it kind of wants to do that. And then pull both sides tight. Okay, and then we're going to pick the beads up again, but we're kind of going to do it in reverse now. Instead of doing a 15 first, we're going to do 3 11s first, and then a 15. Maybe I should just do this all with my right hand. Okay, and then a 15. Three 11s, 15 each side. Slide those down, pick up a little rondelle, and crisscross, or 8/0 bead, like I said. You could do a 3mm here too. I also did that, but I was just using so many of my red Picasso ones. That's why I didn't do it on the other one. I tried it though, and it worked. Okay, and then in a 15/0 and two 11s. So pull this tight, and then go through the rondelle right here. Just the rondelle, not the 8/0 seed beads. Okay, and then I'll do this with my right hand because I'm bad off. 15 and two 11s, and then through the rondelle. Okay, now the next part is where this gets really fancy with how I did this. I tried doing this next section so many different ways. I didn't have enough of these blue silver lined beads, so I had to go to bronze. So that's the hugs and kisses section. Now what I'm going to do is pick up on each needle a bronze 11/0, okay, a little rondelle on each side, a 15 on each side. This 15 is very important to do in this one. The other one I did 3mm beads, and because these are longer, I did not have to do a 15/0 seed bead there, okay? But this one, you have to. If you're doing these little rondelles, or if you're doing like 8/0 seed beads in place of the rondelles. Okay, so slide those down. So 3 beads. See that? 11, rondelle, and a 15 on each side. Then I pick up a bronze 11/0 seed bead. Crisscross my ends through this. And I'm going to zoom in close because this is hard to see. Okay, so that's what I have right there. And then I'm going to pick up 11, a 15, a rondelle, a 15, 11, rondelle, 11, 15. This part here is going to be on top of the middle. This is going to sit on top of the leaf. Like right here. Focus! Okay. Right here, I did 11, 15, 11, 15, 11. That's what I did there in that area. So slide this down. Okay. Waiting for my camera to focus. I'm gonna go through this rondelle through the 15, okay, and through that 11. Just like that. Wow, that's actually really clear. Okay, through there. Oh, darn it. Let's see. Go like this. Okay. And then pull the needle through. So see how that wants to get loose? So I go like this. Okay. And then I pull this thread. And it gets tighter after I do the next section. Okay, so that's one side. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, I strung the same beads on. This is going to be on the top, this is going to be on the side, over here sitting on the leaf. Slide all of these down. Take the needle, pass through this rondelle right here, okay, the first one that I added, through this 15, and through that 11. Just like that, pull the needle through. Okay, now I take and pick up one 11-0 seed bead, bronze color, slide it down, crisscross through this bead, and watch what happens. See, now there's a group of 4 right here, and see that loose thread? That's okay. I just grab these little loops here in the sides, pull them, and then go like that, and it tightens up the piece. See that there? Okay. And then I take this side. This is so small with the 15s that some of you might want to do it the way that I did here with the 3mm. And I would have showed how to do this one in the video, but since this was about the Potomac bead box, that's why I'm doing this one. Okay. Now I'm taking the needle and I'm passing through this one here, through the 15 and through that rondelle. But this is going to look so fancy. I know this is kind of tough because it's so tiny, but it's going to look really fancy when we're done. Okay, and then taking this thread, I have to go through this 15 and through the rondelle. Like that. Okay, that's so pretty. I love those colors. And then a bronze seed bead on my right side here, and I'll pick this up so I can see. I'm gonna go through this rondelle. Shh, nobody's here. Okay, pull that tight. And then on this side, I'm going to do bronze, just like on the other side, and go through that rondelle, and then pull it tight, and it's all going to come together like a little puzzle. Push it down too, like this, so that the beads sit in place. See how the blue beads are popping out? That's how you want it to look. Okay. Just like that. Very pretty. We're going to repeat the hugs and kisses part again. Just like this. This is going to be for the top. This goes the top center, and this goes on top of the leaf right there. This part is actually doing something. Okay, it's beautiful, but it's also making this leaf stay flat when you wear the bracelet. Because if we didn't have this section here, this leaf would just stand right up on your wrist. I'm going to do the hugs and kisses pattern again, and I would do this part right here. It's just the only difference is between this area and this area is there's no leaves here. We have rondelles instead of leaves, because the leaves will not fit here, and I did not have enough leaves. But the leaves would look weird if they were touching these teardrops. Here's what it looks like so far. Now we're going to put teardrops here, and by the way, this bracelet finished is exactly 8 inches. But if you want, you can make it smaller. And the way you're going to make it smaller is with how you add your teardrops. If you add your teardrops just by themselves, the bracelet will shrink 1/2 inch, believe it or not, to a 7.5 inch bracelet. And if you add your teardrops with a seed bead on each side, put them in here, it adds 1/2 inch, so then it will be 8 inches. If you want your bracelet even smaller, you would probably have to skip adding a section here. But this will make it a lot smaller, really downsize it. So another alternative you could probably do, instead of doing this as a closure, you could do a lobster claw. That would make it the shortest, I think. I think it would make it shorter than this. Yeah, it would, because of the length of that loop there. Okay, so we are on this side. I'm going to flip the bracelet over now and work on this side. Doing this part is so easy. I'm going to pass through this 11-0, this rondelle, and through this 11-0, and I'm also going to go through this 8 and through that 4. Okay, pull that tight. I'm not sure if I want to do the 11-0s on this one for sure or not. I think I'm going to try it and see. I think I do. This is the teardrop there that has nicks in it, so I'll show you that. Okay, so see how it has little falls, there's little holes in it. So I want this to be on the back side, and then I'm going to pick up another 11-0. Okay, so it's going to be on this side of the bracelet. No one's going to see those marks. I'm going to go through these 2 beads right here, like this. Okay, see that? And then I'm going to pass through the 8-0, the leaf, the 8-0, and if I can, sometimes it's tricky, we're going to try to go straight up through these, but I can't with this one because it's going at a weird angle. So I'm just going to go through there, and then do through the 8, do through the 8, go through the 8. You know, by the way, I do pay attention to the way I talk when I do my videos, when I go to edit, and I am myself shocked at some of the things I say that make no sense. But I'm not the only one. I think all YouTubers do it. Misspeak. Okay, this one has white specks on this side, so I'll have it facing this way. So I picked up my beads. Like I said, if you want this to be a 7.5 inch bracelet, do not pick up 11 OC beads. Just do the drops. Okay, just like that. And then go through these here. We're just repositioning. That's all we're doing. And if you want, this is easy to take apart because we're just going straight through the sides. It's not like we're weaving back and forth. You could put the seed beads in with the teardrops. Okay, do it on both sides. Come down through here. Don't tie this off. Do the other side, because that's what I did. I did both sides because I wanted to make sure that I was going to be happy with this before I took and tied knots. Once you tie knots, it's game over. You can't redo it unless you want to take the whole thing apart. Okay, go through there. Oh, and I never finish a piece in the same day. I always, this is like a big rule of mine, and I've seen other professional beaders that have beaded like their entire lives, which is pretty much me, say the same thing, that they never do one piece in one day. They will work on it and go back to it the next day. And that is some of the best advice I could give, because the next time I go back, I will see a flaw, or I will change something and make some kind of improvement that makes the piece so much better. Okay, so see how these sit here with those seed beads? Now if you do it without the seed beads, this will have gaps. It will be loose. But all you have to do is just pull your thread really tight and it tightens it up. Now I'm going to go through this rondelle. Okay, and then straight up through these 11 O's, all 8 of them, and then through the button and through that first 11 O seed bead there. Go from there, pull this tight. I'm going to take this needle off because I don't need to get poked, and then do the same thing on this side, which I think I might fast forward because it's so easy. Back, and I continued working the bracelet. I'm just repeating the same thing that I did over here on this side now, and I'm now to the loop for my button. And to do the button, I usually do this with 2-hole beads, but I don't have any 2-hole beads in this bracelet, so I'm doing my usual measurement of what I usually do with a cut button. If you're using a different kind of button, then you would have to play around and figure out how many seed beads you would have to do, but I never count the seed beads for this part here, because if you're using different brands, you will get a different amount or different length of seed beads. So if I were to be using Toho's right now, my seed bead loop would be much longer than it is, believe it or not. So I strung up my seed beads, and I always string for the cut button 1 inch, a quarter, plus 1 extra seed bead. See that right there? 1 inch, a quarter, plus 1 extra seed bead. This always gives me the perfect size loop. If you make the loop too big, your bracelet will fall off. The button will go straight through the loop like it ain't no thing, and you'll lose your bracelet. So I always like to have a precise loop so that I don't lose my bracelet, because who wants to do that, right? So I have all my beads on, I'm sliding them down. This is just like for the cut button. I'm just doing it without the button, that's all. Just seed beads without it. And I'm taking my other string, I'm crisscrossing through all of these beads, and while I'm at it, I'm going to go through the rondelle there, as you could see. Okay, pull that through, but don't pull it through all the way because I have to do some adjusting. And then take my other needle, go through the same rondelle, opposite side. Okay, and before I pull this down, I have to tighten this area. And go like this. I should have pulled this side some. Okay, but what I did earlier, I like to put my fingers in here, pull this loop while pulling my working tails at the same time, and it tightens it up. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to continue on doing my bracelet on the top here, and then I have to go back down like I did on this side, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and finish the video right now because I've already showed earlier how to tie knots. So to tie this bracelet off, you want to take your needles, crisscross through this 8-0 seed bead, and then pass your needle down through all of these 11 O's. Okay, do that on both sides. Crisscross through this bead right here, and you're going to want to tie your knots on the back side here. And just like I did earlier, if you have any trouble, you can go back, rewind to the part where I showed how to do the flower. You're going to pass through this 8-0 seed bead right here. Okay, then you're going to take your needle, pass it underneath, wrap it around this thread right here, tie, make a loop, and pass through that loop twice. That's a double half-inch knot that I like to tie. And then pass through a couple beads. I like to do 2 beads, tie another knot, pass through 2 beads, tie another knot, and I just stay on the back side of this. I do not go on the top. If you want to, you could, if you feel like you need to reinforce like this area, for example, because these blue beads here are sharp, but it's totally up to you. I just stay on the back side, and I go through the back side every few beads, tie a knot, and I use up all of my thread. I go all the way down here if I could reach it, crisscross, and I come back down a little bit and trim the thread. But that's it. It's pretty easy finishing off. It just takes some time because there are 6 tails. There's 2 tails on each end. So this is it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It's late now in the day, so I won't be able to take pictures of this today. I will have to finish it tonight to take pictures tomorrow and edit. I'm probably going to be editing this video for like 48 hours. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I love this piece so much. It really is beautiful. And I wish I had the mermaid one here to show you the size difference, because these here are bigger. They're whiter because of the flower part. But yeah, they turned out to look amazing. And like I said, I will leave links to all of the materials you will need to make these bracelets down there below in the description bar. So please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and make sure you click the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload new videos. And check me out on my social media sites. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.